If you could have a superpower to help you precept, what would it be and why?
Being invisible so that I could just observe without my orientee knowing that I'm observing, so that they feel as comfortable and as natural doing their thing. And that would give me more feedback so that I could be a better preceptor.
For me, it would be mind reading, because that would be really helpful, knowing what the preceptee is thinking. It could be good or bad, but definitely it would give me insight on what they probably need to know and what they need from me. So it could be good and bad, but it would be very helpful.
What's the best piece of advice you have ever been given as a preceptor?
When I first started precepting, my first preceptor told me, sit on your hands. And that really was the best advice, because as a preceptor, you're so used to doing. Well, as a nurse, you're so used to doing. And every nurse, especially every NICU nurse, has their own way of doing certain things. And so you really have to let your orientee do for themselves. Once they've been shown and explained how to do something, for them to really just have the time to figure out what works for them.
Being empathetic and be patient with your preceptee. In order for them to, in order for you to impart knowledge to them, you have to be patient, and that's so, you're preceptive, but will trust you, and then be empathetic as well, because before you become a preceptor, you're a preceptee as well, learning. And then even though you're already a preceptor, you're still in the process of learning things.
The communication was the biggest thing. Not knowing, I've always felt like my communication was okay, but just knowing how I approach things and how to approach things, that's been the best advice I've gotten. It's the better communication between my preceptors, the preceptees, and know that everybody communicates differently, and that I have to kind of go along with their style of communication.
The best advice that I've gotten, and I've been precepted by a couple nurses actually, is to take your time. I know it's fast-paced, but I kept that with me, because when you rush, you make mistakes. So I always take my time and think about what I'm doing before going in and doing it.
Be patient and take one as at a time. Don't go fast, just slow, and you'll be a good one.
Would you rather skydive or would you rather precept?
Skydive. No, totally kidding. Totally kidding. Considering the skydiving is very life-threatening, I think precepting would probably be the better safe bet. And I would rather precept over skydive.
Definitely precept. Skydiving is a little scary, and that's not to say that precepting isn't scary. It can also be scary. Sometimes you find yourself in situations where you may not know the answer, or you could be in a new situation and you need to set an example of how to handle that kind of situation for your preceptor. I precept because I love it. I have a passion for teaching, and I love seeing NICU nurses grow.
What makes a good preceptor?
To me, what makes a good preceptor is patience. Everybody is on a different level when it comes to the people that you precept. And then we have people coming from different countries or whatever it may be. So you have to be patient in knowing that everybody doesn't learn the same way. So you may have to slow things down, may have to speed things up, just depends on the person. So definitely being patient is very important in precepting.
I think a good preceptor has to have a beginner's mind, meaning you have to be open and open to learning and to think like a beginner, to not assume that you know it all.
For me, to be a good preceptor, you should be knowledgeable enough and confident, like and you know how to communicate with your preceptee and know how to explain things and accept like critics from your preceptee too, because we're here like to learn. Learning is a long process for us, so it's like give and take.
Can you describe yourself in one word?
I'm flexible, like willing to adapt.
I would describe myself as passionate, just because I feel like as a nurse you have to be that way. If not, then it kind of defeats the purpose of doing the job, because this definitely takes a lot of passion to do. My patients are very important to me. I sometimes find myself thinking about them even outside of work, just to make sure they're okay, their families are okay. And I'm very passionate in what I do. I make sure that I take my time in what I do, and even helping the other nurses, I'm very passionate about that too.